There are so many people who feel stuck and dissatisfied. They're trying so hard, and yet they don't seem to be getting anywhere. Well, the problem isn't a lack of effort. It's a misalignment with truth. That's what we're going to talk about today. This is To Live the Truth, the podcast. My name is Ryan Clausen. And let's talk about a few real-life symptoms of the problem that we're discussing today. It might manifest in feeling burned out at work. You may feel like you are putting your all into your job. You may have multiple jobs, and yet you feel like you are struggling to make ends meet. You're feeling stressed. You're feeling like all the work that you're putting in doesn't matter. It might manifest in your physical wellness. So you may be trying different diets and workout routines, and yet you still feel like garbage and aren't proud of your body. Or you might feel it in your experience as a parent. You may be trying all the tricks you can think of to try and get your kids to behave and listen, and yet you're still struggling to create order and harmony in your home. But like I said, the problem here isn't a lack of effort. It's a lack of alignment with reality, with truth. Ray Dalio, in his book Principles, said that truth, or more precisely, an accurate understanding of reality, is the essential foundation for any good outcome. And I say something similar in my book, where I say that the degree to which we learn truth and align our characters and our lives with it will determine the level of peace, success, and joy we experience in our lives. So if you're not getting the results or the outcomes that you want in some area of your life, it is likely because of an incomplete understanding of reality, a misalignment with truth. And so the plan, the correct procedure, ought to be working to gain a greater understanding and perception of reality, to gain more truth in your life. Because your behavior grows out of your deeply held beliefs and values. And so if you can align those beliefs and values more closely with reality, then that will change your behavior to be more fruitful, to bring the results that you want. This has been my experience in my life. Just a few years ago, I was not feeling happy with many of the outcomes I was experiencing in my life. In my relationships, I was struggling to get along with my wife. I wasn't happy with my weight, and I felt crummy all the time. And I was feeling depressed and stressed out all the time. Finally, one day, I just got so fed up, I decided to begin making some changes in my life. And it began with creating new beliefs in my own mind. One of those faulty beliefs that I discovered I was holding at that time was that I didn't have the power to choose, that I didn't have control over my decisions and my actions. And this manifested in pretty self-destructive habits. I was staying up late at night, doing things that didn't matter, playing video games, watching movies, doing things that were fun in the moment, but did not contribute to my overall wellness. And it manifested in me sleeping in, past my alarms, waiting till the absolute last possible minute before I needed to get up and go to work. It also manifested in just the way I treated people. When I felt irritable, I acted irritable because I didn't believe that I had the ability to resist those natural impulses to treat people rudely when I wasn't feeling like in a good mood. But I began to adopt a new belief system that reminded me that I do have the power to choose. I am responsible for and in control of my emotions, thoughts, and actions. And as I began to remind myself of that reality, to better align my beliefs with that reality, I began to see results. I began to gain greater power over my actions, when I went to bed, when I'd wake up in the morning, how I treated people, how I treated myself. how I acted throughout the day. And it brought greater peace and happiness to my life. It enabled me to take better control of my health and to improve my relationships. And so that simple yet profound shift in my beliefs made an immense change in all aspects of my life. And the same can be true for anyone. I know I still have faulty beliefs somewhere. I know that I am not perfectly aligned with truth. I know that some of my results could be better. And so I am actively, constantly working to identify and detect those faulty beliefs and better align them with reality. And so I extend the invitation to you to do the same. I invite you to evaluate your life and identify the one biggest problem that's troubling you right now. What's the biggest setback that you're experiencing right now? And then ask yourself, what faulty belief could be behind this problem? Now, this can be challenging and it can be uncomfortable because it causes you to confront yourself and be honest with yourself. Human nature often tends towards self-deception because it's more comfortable to believe you're right than to consider the possibility of being wrong. But I promise you, as you experiment with this practice of challenging your beliefs and seeking for that faulty belief that may be behind these unsatisfactory outcomes you're experiencing, that you can begin to take control of those outcomes and begin to change them, begin to create new, more favorable outcomes. If you're struggling to identify your faulty belief, then I invite you to share the problem that you're dealing with in the comments, and we may discuss it in a future episode. If the ideas we've been discussing interest you, I invite you to pick up my book, To Live the Truth, which you can get for free at ryantclosson.com. So far in the podcast, we've been discussing the book on a chapter-by-chapter basis. But going forward, we're going to do things a little bit differently. In each episode, we'll be discussing one powerful principle, a profound truth that if we learn it and align with it in our lives, it will invite greater peace, success, and joy. But I'm excited to embark on this new journey with you, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section. We may address them in a future episode. Also, please consider rating, reviewing, and subscribing to the podcast. It really helps others find us. Finally, I wish you peace and success, and I look forward to chatting again.